You've probably been hearing a lot of people talk about Web 3, which is also referred to as Web 3 and Web 3.0 in recent times. Simply put, it is a reference to the subsequent iteration of the internet, which will emphasize decentralized protocols and seek to lessen reliance on giant technology businesses such as Amazon, Netflix, and YouTube. But what exactly is it, and why is everyone so fascinated with it right now? In this video, we are going to talk about what exactly Web 3 is and why everyone seems to be talking about it. However, before we begin our video, we would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. Therefore, let's begin with the fundamentals. What precisely is Web 3? In order to have any hope of comprehending Web 3, one must first learn what came before it. In the late 1990s, the very first version of the internet, which came to be known as Web 1 and was made up of a collection of links and homepages, was made available. There wasn't much in the way of interactivity on the websites. You weren't able to do much than read stuff and publish simple content for other people to read. In a speech to the United States Congress in December 2021, the chief executive officer of Bitfury, Brian Brooks, put it quite eloquently as follows: if people remember their original AOL account, it was an ability to look in a curated walled garden at a set of content that was not interactive, but was presented to you on AOL, in the same way that Time magazine used to show you the articles they wanted you to see inside of their magazine, only you could see. After that came Web 2. Some people referred to this version of the internet as the read/write version, which is a reference to a computer code that allows you to not only open but also edit files. As opposed to merely seeing them, people were able to not only consume material but also produce their own and share it on websites like as Tumblr, internet forums, and online markets such as Craigslist. Thanks to this iteration of the internet, in later years, material sharing reached previously unimaginable heights because of the development of social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The general public eventually became aware of the manner in which tech companies were harvesting their personal data and using it to build personalized adverts and marketing campaigns. This awareness came about after some time had passed. In particular, Facebook has been the subject of numerous investigations into its possible violations of data privacy rules. In 2019, Facebook was given a fine of $5 billion, which is the highest penalty that the Federal Trade Commission has ever imposed, FTC. Even though Web 2.0 has provided the world with amazing free services, many people are sick of the new walled gardens that large technology companies have created and want to have more control over their data and content. This is because Web 2.0 allows large companies to collect and sell user data. The third iteration of Web comes into play here. The read/write/own phase of internet is referred to as Web 3. And it can be regarded as such. Users have the option to engage in the governance and operation of the protocols directly, as opposed to simply accessing free technological platforms in exchange for their data. Because of this, individuals have the potential to become participants and shareholders rather than only customers or products. In Web 3, these shares are referred to as tokens or cryptocurrencies, and they reflect ownership of decentralized networks known as blockchains. Blockchains are a type of distributed ledger. When you have a sufficient number of these tokens, you are given a voice in the governance of the network. To vote on the future of, say, a decentralized lending protocol, holders of governance tokens can spend their assets to vote on the protocol's destiny. Here is what Brooks had to say about it once more. The fundamental lesson here is that what occurs on the decentralized internet is decided by the investors as opposed to what happens on the main internet, which is decided by Twitter, Facebook, Google, and a small number of other firms. What can you do on Web 3? The growth of cooperative governance systems for products that were previously centralized is now possible thanks to Web 3. Tokenization is a process that can be applied to virtually anything, including memes, works of art, a person's social media activity, and even conference tickets for Gary Vee's events. The video game business is a fantastic illustration of a paradigm shift in action. Gamers are constantly complaining about the problems that developers leave in their favorite video game, or about how the most recent patch has thrown off the equilibrium of their preferred weapon. Players of Web 3 had the opportunity to invest in the game world and have their voices heard over how things should be managed. Large Web 2 firms such as Meta and Ubisoft are now developing virtual worlds that are partially powered by Web 3. Non-fungible tokens, also known as NFT, will play a significant part in the remaking of the gaming industry. NFT will enable users to become the permanent owners of the objects they collect while playing games. How does Web 3 fit in with that other vision of the internet's future? The metaverse. Facebook recently changed its name to Meta and said that its top priority would be to build the metaverse, a digital future where everyone lives, works, and plays together in virtual reality. Robust interoperability is one of the company's stated goals. This means that users can take their accounts or avatars from site to site or service to service without having to log into accounts controlled by different companies every time they visit a new site. That's also one of Web3's goals. But true believers say that there is no place for Facebook in a Web3 world, no matter how hard the social network tries to be part of the next generation of the internet. Williams said, Facebook will always have a reason to improve itself, and that's not how cyberspace should be controlled. How likely is it that Web3 is just a made-up dream? It's easy to find people who doubt Web3. James Grimmelman, a law and technology professor at Cornell University, has spoken out about his doubts. Web3 is vaporware, Grimmelman said, meaning a product that is talked about but never comes out. It's a promised future internet that will fix everything people don't like about the current internet, even if it's contradictory. He said that the blockchain is not the answer if one of the reasons for not giving personal information to big tech companies is that more information will be made public. He said, it doesn't make sense. According to the vision, the problem with the internet is that there are too many centralized middlemen. We won't have a lot of different apps and websites. Instead, we'll put everything on blockchains, which will put everything in one place. Grimmelman thinks that Web3 is a way for tech companies to get back to the idealism of the early days of the internet, when everyone could use the information superhighway for free. But tech companies have since taken over. He said that the internet's history has always been a tug-of-war between getting smaller and getting bigger. When the pendulum swings too far in one direction, a backlash tries to pull it back the other way. Blockchains are interesting and find new ways to solve some hard problems. They'll probably be part of the tools used to build the next internet, but that doesn't mean the internet will be built around them. But a lot of people who got rich during the pandemic by investing in cryptocurrencies are now looking for something other than NFT Bored Apes who are members of a cartoon yacht club to put their money into. He said that Web3, even though it is mostly a theory, is the thing right now. There are a lot of people with money to invest, and they need a plan for their money to go toward. Criticisms of Web3. The most common complaint about Web3 technology is that it does not live up to its envisioned potential. There is not a uniform distribution of ownership over blockchain networks. Rather, it is concentrated in the hands of early adopters and venture capitalists. This discussion has been brought to the forefront as a result of a recent public dispute that broke out on Twitter regarding Web3 between the CEO of Blockade, Jack Dorsey, and numerous venture capitalists. The concept of decentralization theory, in which blockchain projects are decentralized in name but not in fact, is at the core of the criticisms that have been leveled against the technology. Examples of decentralization theory include private blockchains, investments sponsored by venture capital, and decentralized finance, DeFi protocols in which only a select few people possess the keys to hundreds of millions of dollars. And even though the community of protocols is not meant to have a leader, there are nevertheless distinct figureheads. Isabella Kaminska, the editor-in-chief of the Financial Times blog Alphaville, pointed out that Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, continues to have a significant amount of power over the network, despite the fact that he is no longer involved in the development of it. She said, Vitalik is a funny and contradictory phenomenon in his own right. Kaminska disclosed this information to the Crypto Syllabus. He acts as the spiritual leader of a de facto headless system, while maintaining great weight and power over the headless system he founded and oversees, Kaminska said. The situation is not significantly improved inside the protocols of decentralized money. They are rife with voter absenteeism, frequently rely on centralized infrastructure, and the barrier to entry in creating them is still high, given that the creation of blockchain seems to be arcane magic reserved for only the most highly specialized engineers. Despite these drawbacks, cryptocurrencies continue to gain traction as a viable alternative to traditional currencies. But despite the issues it has, Web3 has a great deal of untapped potential. People who utilize technology on a day-to-day basis will, over the course of the next decade, determine whether or not it is realistic enough to put into action. That's all we have got for today. If you enjoy watching the video, drop a comment below and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.